welcome to my channel. My name is Chiomah Mama, and today we're going to have another great conversation with me and a friend called Funmi Hassan. Funmi, welcome to Conversations
Thank
with
you
Chiomah.
so much for having me, Chiomah.
Great to have you here. And if this is your first time of joining, this channel, please do not forget to share, like, and subscribe. If you've also been here before, still do not forget to share, like, and subscribe.
Oh, snack options. There are so many. It's like, okay, so the other day I had apples with coconuts. Now, I always tell people when it comes to snacking, don't just snack, make your snack a small meal. So make it balanced as well. So balance your snacks as well. And Nigeria has so many balanced snacks.
Our local snacks are the best.
Honestly, our local snacks are the best. I'll give you a very good example: popcorn and granules. Now, it's amazing that nutrition for me is a constant learning process. And I always enjoy when I learn new things about nutrition, and then I discover that when you combine grains and legumes, so legumes are things like beans, granules, and actually granite is not a nut, it's actually a legume, but that's a story for another day. So it's a legume, and I find out that when you combine grains and legumes, what you have there is a complete protein.
Oh, wow.
So essentially, when you eat proteins, generally what your body does is it breaks it down to what we call amino acids. So that is what your body needs, is the amino acids. So grains generally have some amino acids, but the amino acids in grains are not present in legumes, and the one in legumes are not present in grains.
So they combine well.
So when you combine them, so you have typical snack now, what we call guguru atepa. Perfect, perfect combination. And Nigeria has so many of those combinations. We have beans and corn is another complete protein. Rice and beans is another. Moi moi and pap, moi moi and akara, all of those combinations.
Roasted corn and pear.
Exactly, same combination. So we have little pockets of snacks, all over the place that are perfectly healthy for you. Ube is high in fats, healthy fats as well, not the bad type of fat. So yeah, so you have things like that. So when you have your fruits, because fruits are generally sugar, so you want to combine them with something that is higher in some form of fat and protein. So you have banana and groundnuts. So banana is high in, of course, it has the sugars and everything, but then you have the fats and the proteins from your groundnut. So that's another perfectly healthy snack that you can have. You have things like kuli kuli. People laugh. I'm like, do you know that kuli kuli is actually, because the process of actually getting kuli kuli, you actually have to fry and fry after you have removed the oil, you fry it. So it's actually a reduced oil. There's actually reduced oil content in kuli as opposed to eating the raw granules, because in the raw granule you have
so you've extracted a lot of the oil from
exactly. So you have a lot of perfectly healthy Nigerian snacks.
Wow, Nigerian snacks. Honestly, I love when I see corn and all those things. They are really healthy. I prefer boiled granules any day over some of the things that we see and are packaged.
Exactly.
And if we look online and see, we'll see that a lot of the overseas, they are actually looking for these snacks that we have.
Exactly.
Why do we have to wait for them to make them popular? Let's just enjoy what we have, what God has blessed us with, and use those, and snack healthily. So still talking about, the things that we consume and how we put ourselves under, we eat the wrong things, like looking at, I want to lose weight, I want to eat healthily and all that. One thing I found that people don't, for me, I found that out, from a spiritual angle when I started fasting. I found out that food is fantastic. Like I said, I love food, but food is also not. I think we in a way, not, I won't say it's overrated because it's not, but we feel that, hey, if I don't eat this one meal, I'm going to die. No, you're not going to die.
No, I agree with you.
Food
can sometimes overrated.
Yeah, because the truth is that, like you said, the body knows how to function. I remember, watch a lot of these things on TV. You see somebody, he was trapped somewhere for 1 week. I said, how come he didn't die? Because, I remember when I was, I remember when I was born. I don't remember when I was born. But my mother told me that when I was born, I was a very big baby. She thought she was going to die. She didn't eat, but she didn't feed me. And then she was like, "Oh, my baby, your baby is fine." And she came as she was born. There's food there. Babies don't die if they're not fed for one day. And I tell a lot of people I'm talking to them about nursing and all that. Look, your baby is fine. You didn't lactate today. Oh, she's okay. And so we find that we're eating. We're thinking, I don't eat now. No. And one thing I find that we need to be careful because we're making our children feel that without food, that's the end. You cannot suffer. So let's talk about fasting. Not only like I said, for spiritual purposes, we every major religion we fast. We're encouraged to fast, but beyond that, for your health, talk about fasting for health.
Fasting is amazing for your health on many levels. Now, what you said about not eating. Actually, some research has shown that physiological hunger, which is real, like a healthy adult, can go 40 days without food.
Really?
Yeah, 40 days without food, but with water.
Okay.
40 days without food. So your body has enough storage to actually keep you going. It will, of course, some things will slow down.
But what am I saying really? I know people that have gone on 38, 39 day fast and they didn't die. They're fine.
And in fact, they would tell you that they not just that they don't die, but they thrive on many levels. Because when you fast, what you do is that you actually you redirect your body's energies. It takes a lot of energy for the body to digest food. So imagine your body is doing a lot while you are and especially these days where we are, you have people eating 5, 6, 7. So we are basically constantly eating.
The body work.
Yeah, I always tell people the body was not designed to eat 24. It was not designed to eat constantly. Why do I say so? If the body was designed to eat constantly, there will be no storage system.
Of course.
So what the body does is the body anticipates that there will be a time where you are not
there's
eating.
No food. Yes.
That's why your body stores food. That's why your body stores fat. Fat is essentially a storage mechanism.
For when there's no food.
So that the body dips into that store to now begin to continue living. But what do we have now? People never get to a fasted state. So people are constantly eating. So of course, you will pile on the weight. And that's why they say, unless you are in a calorie deficit, you can't lose weight. Because the only way your body burns fat is when it sees that there is no food around. Then it goes into, if it's just like in your home, you have your fridge, you have your freezer. So freezer is for like long-term storage. So that's fat. So you have your fridge, so you have your liver. The body stores some amount of energy in the liver as glucose. So don't let me get the numbers wrong, but for a while, if you don't go for like a day or so, your body can still use liver stores. But if you go on further than that, your body just moves into what they call ketosis. That's where your body completely uses fat as its energy source. So yes, the body does prefer sugar because it's easy. Who wants to dip into
my reserves
when your food is really easily available? So what you do when you fast is you allow the body to do certain other activities such as detoxification. Fantastic. So imagine in your home now when you are so busy, like you have tasks piling up because you are so busy. Once you get a moment to rest, what do? You start to tidy up those things. So sometimes when you fast, that's what the body does.
Wonderful.
Things that had been put aside because the body was busy digesting that pounded yam and everything, the body now says, okay, I can repair this. And that's why you see when people fast, they tell you that you're looking younger, they have more energy. Why? Because the body is detoxifying, the body is repairing tissues, the body is doing so many things, and even mental alertness.
Of course.
I used to tell people that I remember when I was in uni, whenever I had an exam, I didn't eat because I noticed. And it was much later when I was doing research that I found out that when your body is not eating, energies are diverted to your brain. So your alertness, so you're very alert. I read a funny story, and the way they explained it, that imagine yourself not having food in those days, prehistoric times. of course, your body had to think of ways to get food.
Yes.
So it sends more energy to the organ it knows can actually think, which is the brain. So you notice that when you are actually fasting, you notice that your mental alertness, and that's why you see even spiritually, you see that spiritually you are more alert.
You're more sound, yes.
You are more sound when you are fasting.
I don't know if this happens to you. When I'm fasting as well, we think of food a lot when we're fasting. You're thinking of recipes like, I haven't eaten that in a long time. So all round, the brain is working.
The brain is working.
Yeah, that combination would be nice. Okay, so this is what I'm going to do. Yeah. And and it makes sense, because even when you're in a broke state financially, you're more alert and thinking of how can I make money.
That's it.
You're thinking of it more. So people, you will not die if you fast. I mean, I say 3 days fast. How? It's very possible. 7 days, nothing will happen. Yeah. Research even says, I know people that have done, a pastor friend of mine, he did 40 days. His wife was eat now. He was okay. He was fine. Now he was, he broke the. I think he used to do that every year, every other year. So you will not die if you fast every now and then. So for me, like I told I think the other day, I think it was you I told, or someone, how I find it hard to fast for health, because I'm so used to fasting for spiritual reasons. But but it's for health. It is actually a very good way to cleanse the body. What do they do? All these detox and boot camps is don't eat, or they clear the food that is already there. They just do a colon cleanse and all sorts of things. It's a lot of it is not eating. So if you can just get that mental strength and say, you know what, I'm going to stay away from food and focus on other things. What do you do when you're very busy? At times you forget to eat. You didn't even mean to fast. You did not plan to fast, but you have this project and you're really, really busy. You forget to eat. And as parents, we need to think of the children that we are raising, because they're looking at our food habits. They're looking at our eating habits. They're looking at what we do. And a lot of times I think I want to go and take a snack at 1 a.m. I'm like, hey, this thing you're doing, really, if you're someone who sees you eating bread at this time, in fact they say, Mommy, don't eat bread at this time. I say, it's true, I'll put the bread down. Really, because they end up picking up these habits from you, what they see you consume and how you consume and how you treat food. So we need to also make the right choices, not just for us but for them who are looking at us. Now, moving on to food and the Nigerian food, because like you said, for a lot of people they will make it as if that you cannot fast. If you're not eating bulgur wheat and quinoa and some kind, and only kale and things that don't even grow here, you have to grow in a different way. You've not started this your healthy living. But there is a lot of healthy Nigerian food, and you're in an intertribal marriage, which tell me about your discovery of food of the northern part, how healthy that has been for you, having that in your
my healthy journey, my healthy eating and living journey, I would say, began by accident, honestly. Like, I think I was just doing some research on something else, and then I started seeing all these detoxes. I think this was maybe 2013, 2014, and I was like, what it just seemed like a whole new world opened up to me, and I was like, okay. And then I started reading, I started buying books, I registered on courses, and I was like, I found all these amazing foods. I was living in the UK then, so of course all of the material I was reading were foreign books. So I just kept, and every time I read those, I just kept thinking, okay, what are the Nigerian alternatives? One day I will go back home. I would like to take this message of healthy eating back home and everything. So what are the Nigerian alternatives? So I think that was where my drive and passion for discovering Nigerian alternatives came from, because I thought, right, we have all these foods. I mean, God is so wise in the sense that he wouldn't put a food in our region and then expect us to go travel
from Kalamazoo.
Before we'll get so. And then in my research I discovered that actually foods that grow within a particular region are more beneficial for the people in that region. Not only for that, and also seasons. Foods that grow in certain seasons are actually meant for that season. So I tell people, don't just eat locally, but eat in season. So corn is in season, eat corn. Mango is in season, eat mango. Because the nutrients combination, there's a reason why things grow in seasons. There are certain diseases, if you notice, we call
seasonal.
They're seasonal. And you notice, like around the rainy season, like we are now, you have things like mangoes, which are rich in vitamin C. You have oranges, rich in vitamin C. So you find out that actually the seasons work in sync, with what we need for that particular season. So eat locally and eat in season. So another tip I would say, when people want to go, eating healthy and everything, always find local alternatives. So the other day I posted something about my smoothies, how I use ugu for my smoothies, and people were like, oh really, I never imagined that you could use ugu for smoothies. And I'm like, it's a dark leafy green vegetable. What makes it different from spinach and kale? In fact, it's actually even more nutritious
than those ones. Yes,
it's a good source of protein as well, and it's readily available. It's cheap. And I'm like, why? What makes kale more superior to it? Nothing, actually. So always look for local alternatives. I always tell people things like okra. Now, people are all about, oh, I want to get my fiber, my soluble fiber. People talk about oats. I love oats. They are rich in soluble fiber, and I agree. But you see our local things like what we call draw soups. So okra, ogbono, ewedu, in fact, they are super high in soluble fiber.
Oh, yes.
What we call mucilage. That's what gives it that joy factor. And what does that do? It helps maintain blood sugar levels. So when you eat, your blood sugar don't spike as much. And I always tell people, you see, there's this science, and I'm all about the science behind nutrition. So you see that in our in our native cultures, we always eat our swallows, which is our high carb foods, with these draw soups. Why? Because it helps to slow down the release of the sugar into the bloodstream. So when you eat your eba with your okra soup, you're doing well. You're doing well. You're doing very well, because that okra, what it does, by the time it gets into your tummy, it lines, the tummy. So by the time the sugar is entering into the blood, it's entering gradually. It's not spiking your blood sugar, as long as you eat it in moderation. So
don't unpack.
Yeah, so you are
5 wraps.
Yeah, so you are perfectly fine, and have more of the soup than the swallow. Don't eat a mountain of swallow, then the soup you're just dipping it in. So our Nigerian foods always look for local alternatives. So when they say to you, oh, this thing is high in soluble fiber, which comes back to the knowledge, ask yourself, what is soluble fiber? How can I get soluble fiber from my Nigerian foods as well? So I think that's very important. Always looking for local alternatives. And you were asking about, of course, my husband happens to be from Bauchi, and I'm from Ogun State, which is a match made in heaven. But then I discovered that because I'm a food person and I love food and all of that, the interest for northern foods came along, because my husband is also someone who loves to eat local foods. Like he's not into foreign foods at all. So
no lasagna for him.
Yeah, lasagna. He'll be like, I will make it. He would eat it, and then he would say, "So where is the food? Like, okay, this was snack. Like, so
I'm not used to this.
Yeah, where's the miyan kuka? Where is the food? And so that got me. I had to learn, learn how to make different soups. From where he's from and everything. And so it launched me into a whole new world. And I think in terms of the Nigerian space, I think northern food is one of Nigeria's most best kept secrets. Because I think maybe because of the reserved nature of the people, I think maybe their food is not as public as foods from other regions. I think I'm trying to think what it could be, because a lot foods from the south have gone everywhere. Foods, in fact, sometimes you don't even know if the food is Yoruba anymore, or if it's Igbo, or if it's, because everybody's eating it. But the north, it's interesting. I love their food is really just domiciled amongst them, and you don't really get to experience their food if you're not from that part. If you're not from that part, exactly. So I had to get people to come to the house to teach me how to make things like miyan kuka, masa, taushe, and all of those things. So it has really helped to also broaden my knowledge of Nigerian foods, if you get, and also helped me to appreciate even more. So we talk about fermented foods now, which is one thing. You hear people say, "Oh, I want to get my probiotics." So they're drinking yogurt, and I'm like,
imported, some of it's imported one.
Imported, and then sometimes I'm like, are you even sure? But our gari, Ijebu gari in particularly, is so high in probiotics. Like, just put it into water.
Is gari fermented in general?
Oh yes, it is.
Every gari is fermented.
Every gari
fermented before it's fried and all that.
Yes, really? It goes through a fermentation process even before it gets to the frying process. So gari is high in probiotics. Our iru. It's high in probiotics. High. We have fermented drinks like kunu. It's high in probiotics. Even masa, is also fermented. The rice, You know, and that fermentation is one thing that is so pervasive across, you know, different cultures.
Yes.
Because it's one of the ways also that, you know,
like we have our oil bean, what's it called?
Exactly.
But it's really fermented oil bean, which is really, really lovely and rich and
fiber, protein, everything. So so Nigerian foods, you know, just eat it. Like Nigeria, once you see something is Nigerian, it doesn't come in a packaging, you are good to go.
You're good to go. That's good to know. So you guys, if you're going on a diet, you're trying to do, you don't have to give up on that eba and soup. It has to do with the quantity. It has to do with making it rich. Make sure you're putting all your green leafy vegetables. You know, pile up the ugu. Don't just go and pack meat everywhere and then you can't even see any soup inside. You know, so those are the things that you will need to look at. And what else do we need to talk about for me when we're talking about healthy living? Because, you know, you spoke about high stress levels. For a lot of us in the workplace that go to work, stress, you know, there's a lot of stress eating, and a lot of people are looking for quick fixes. Which is why you see that, you know, one area that's very pervasive today is people who are, you know, into, okay, let's do this kind of diet that you will drop. And you've already spoken about that, how those things you end up going back to square one and everything. So you've gone through all those things. People have gone through all those diets, and now they want to now do things right. You've spoken about getting the right knowledge. You've spoken about water. You've spoken about using Nigerian food because they are easily available. Because the truth is that you don't want a diet that is not is not sustainable. You want sustainability. Yes, you won't be able to cope. And all. Is there anything else you want to talk about for me? When you're talking about our lifestyle, living a healthy life as a mom, as a dad.
You touched on something very important, and it's stress. Now, you know, stress management is one thing that actually, if you can get under control, because a lot in my study and my research, I found out that whenever we are looking at any particular illness, any particular lifestyle disease, one factor aside from the nutrition that is always a factor is stress.
Wow.
Whether it's diabetes, high blood pressure, all the stress is always a factor, because we live in stressful times, but being able to manage stress is one thing I would say, if you can do for your health as a mom, you would have done, I don't want to put numbers to it, but you would have done a major part of the work. Now, managing stress as a mom has to do with building support systems. Like, honestly, you know, when we say it takes a village to raise a child, it really does. Like, it takes God, and then it takes a good support systems. You know, when people always say, oh, but our moms raised, 20 children, I said, our moms are not living in the times we are living in now.
Yes.
We grew up, I always tell people that we were free-range children. Like, we lived outside.
Oh, yes.
Like, we played outside. You know, our moms were at home, confident. They had no fear. But now we are living in more dangerous times.
Perilous times are here.
Perilous times are here. So, you know, most of us grew up, and as long as we are home before dark, it was okay. Good. Yeah. But these days, you have moms doing helicopter parenting. So you are in the house with your child, well, for whatever length of time, but what are you doing? Where are you? And all of those things, they're stressors. They're stressors. So one, having a support system, and then two, yes, we have all these, our gadgets, CCTVs, all those things, they are great. But you see, one thing I think I learned from my own mother is the power of prayer. You see, you will never be there with your child 24/7. No matter the amount of CCTV, because I see people at work, you know, they're constantly looking at CCTV, and I'm like, this in itself is a stressor. So I say, in whatever form you practice your religion, you know, trust the one who can see when you are not there. Everything. I think that is a major stress releaser, you know, being able to trust the unseen one, you know,
who sees everything
and commit, you know, our children to him. I think that's managing stress. And you know, I know you are big on that, you know, having support systems, you know, whether it's the people who help you to clean, the people who help you to cook, the people who help you with your children. It's about, you know, getting that support system, because that really helps to lower stress levels. Anything you can do to manage your stress. for your mental health. You know, we talk a lot about mental health. Anything you can do, because you need to be around for these kids. And if you are not whole, you know, mentally, if you are stressed, even your kids will notice.
Very true.
You know, you would throw aggression, you know aggression on them as well. You know, it's just not good to anyone, really. So managing your stress is what I would say. If there's anything to tie all of this up together, would just be, we've talked about the nutrition and everything, but moms, your stress, managing your stress. If you're in a toxic relationship, a toxic work environment, find ways to get out of it. You know, so I think that's what I would say. Managing stress.
So moms, you've heard it. A lot of us, you might say, yes, I need this job right now, I can't leave. Find a way, even in the midst of that stressful situation, that toxic situation, to get help, to maintain your sanity. You could have, just been having use of some kind of release, if it's through writing, through music, something that will help you get through that tension, so you're able to come back home and be there and be present for your children and be happy and be healthy as well. And I love that you mentioned the God factor, because that's something that almost every guest, let's say almost every guest I had, they've mentioned it consistently. Having God at the center of it all, whether you're a Christian, Muslim, whatever faith you practice, having God at the center of it all. I believe in Jesus, I worship him, and having him in my life, knowing that I can pray and say, God, help me, I need you. This child that you gave to me, this child is yours. I'm just a custodian, a guardian, so to speak, of this child. You understand him or her. Help me to parent him or her effectively. Help me to make the right choices for myself, so I can be alive to take care of my child, because these healthy choices we make are going to help us live longer, healthier lives. Sometimes things happen, people have accidents, all sorts of things happen, but the one we can do, let us do. Let us live healthy lives. Let us eat right. Let us exercise when we can. Let us remove external things. Look, what you cannot change, you cannot change. Worry will not add a day or take anything from you. So well, it might take, but it will definitely won't add. So you need to do away with worry. Don't allow stressful situations weigh you down and affect your mental and your physical health. Eat food, enjoy it. You've heard it now, our Nigerian foods are beautiful. Just eat them the right way. Learn more. I think we need to have more research on our Nigerian food. I think that's what is lacking, that we don't have enough books and a lot of research done. Advocacy done with our food. That people are, this book I've read by Father Anselm Adodo, and he spoke about so many things. God bless him. So many cures from our natural foods that we have around us, healthy living that we can do through our natural. Our foods are rich, they are good. So eat well, exercise as much as possible, pace yourself, take it one step at a time, be consistent. Rome was not built in a day. And when you do this, you see yourself have a healthy, do something that is sustainable, that can be a lifestyle. It's not about a one day fix or a 1 month fix or a 2 month fix. It's about a healthier lifestyle, so you can be happy, you can be healthy. When you're happy, when you eat well, you're lighter, you feel happy, you're able to think and be more productive, and you're able to be happier and be there for your children and for your family. So thank you so much. Thank you, Funmi, for being with us today.
Thank you for having me.
I'll definitely have you back again. Hopefully you all learned something. I learned a lot today, and looking forward to sharing more with you. Remember, God has given us so much that we can just given us so many gifts. He wants us to be happy. He wants us to be fulfilled. He created us for a purpose. We can create this purpose. We can also fulfill our purpose as parents as well, and raise wonderful children. God will help us. With his help, we can do all things. I hope you enjoyed listening. Please don't forget to share, like, and subscribe, and see you again. Bye.